Hey, church family. When Jesus began his Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, he began the message with a list of qualities that God desires to bless in our lives. The third on that list is probably also the most misunderstood. In Matthew 5:5 we read, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." At face value, I'm not sure that the quality of meekness is something that most of us aspire to. Ask a parent what they hope for their child when they grow up, and I've yet to hear any respond, "I really don't care what he does with his life, just so long as he's really meek." Or if a former employer is providing a job reference for you, I'm not sure how you'd feel if they said, "In all my years of supervising workers, I've had a lot of people come through our doors, and I can say without hesitation that Rick is the meekest worker we've ever had." Again, Matthew 5:5 confuses a lot of people. And maybe the main reason is that meekness is something that we associate with weakness. But the truth is that meekness, or being a doormat or allowing people to walk all over you, is something very different. In describing himself in Matthew 11, Jesus said, "For I am gentle and humble in heart." And the Greek word he used in Matthew 11:29, which is translated there gentle, is the same Greek word that he used in Matthew 5:5, which is there translated meek. It's not weakness, but rather it refers to exercising God's power under his control. It is a combination of strength and gentleness. When a trainer wants to tame a wild horse, that process is called breaking. For a horse to understand directions, the will of that horse must be brought under the control of its master. Something similar happens to the meek heart. You learn to surrender your will to God's will for you. And the good news is that God's will for you is always good. Sometimes you might resist the call to surrender because you want to do things your way, hanging on to your position or your possessions or your power. But Jesus said, you're not blessed by what you have or what you do. You're blessed by who you are. And he tells us that the best way to be in control is to be fully surrendered to God's control. Jesus is not looking for what you can do for him, but for all that you are as you walk with him. You are meek when you finally surrendered all that you are to all that God is. That is when you're blessed. And that's when you'll inherit everything that God has for you, both in this life as well as the life to come. I pray we learn the lesson that genuine strength comes through surrender. And that's a lesson we'll be practicing daily as we follow Jesus. Amen.